Achieving food security, particularly in developing countries, has been an elusive adventure for many years. But as new technologies are evolving, especially in the field of agriculture, hope is rising that in no distant time, many countries in Africa would be able to feed their citizens and possibly earn enough foreign exchange from food export. Now, this week on this program, our focus is on genome editing technology optimization in Africa and prospects. I am Charles Alpha, welcoming you to the program. Now, Nigeria is leading the race to support full uptake and optimization of the genome editing technology in the continent's agriculture sector, has the potential to ensure higher productivity, value addition, and contribution to sustainable food systems. Now, this comes as the Center for Excellence in Science, Technology, and Innovation of AUDA NEPAD and the National Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA, convene heads of research institutes and experts on advancing genome editing research in Nigeria.
Genome editing is a global emerging technology that improves crop variety by modifying its endogenous genome, free of any foreign gene. It is a technology up for grabs for the African continent to catch up with the rest of the world, as staple crops in most African countries need to be improved upon for sustainable food security. Nigeria is taking a lead in this technology amid others like Ethiopia, Ghana, Burkina Faso, South Africa, Malawi, Mozambique, and Eswatini on the continent. The country has created the enabling environment to encourage the thriving of this technology with Biosafety Act, regulations and guidelines upfront for its development.
Genome editing technology has the potential to revitalize agricultural productivity, promote food security, and sustainable environment in Nigeria. That is why, as a country, we're supporting its full uptake and optimization. A significant benefit of this cutting-edge technology is that it can be seamlessly applied to existing variety of R&D programs.
Now, a further step has been taken. Chief executives of different agri-research institutes in Nigeria and academics that are involved in biotechnology have been converged at the instance of AUDA NEPAD Center for Excellence in Science, Technology and Innovation and the National Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA. This is because these chief executives of different agri-research institutes in the country and academics are the end users and drivers of the new and emerging technology, so much that their roles and collaboration for effective implementation and optimization of the technology in the country is achieved.
One of the major outcomes of an engagement at this level will include drawing up the modalities and terms of engagement. I am sure we'll all agree that the goal is one. The goal of the Africa we want, built by Africans and powered by innovation. This project aims to develop the science, technology, and innovation in the continent as a drive to global competitiveness.
This affords the chief executives and experts that are also with them to define the terms of engagement on how they are going to work together to ensure that Nigeria benefits from this technology, because they are the ones that are the captains or steering the ship of the individual agencies.
The project is basically coming from science, research and development. But the AUDA NEPAD confirms it has a bigger program looking at biosafety and regulation aspects.
while we're working with the scientists, R&D, we're working with governments, but we're also working with the private sector. So we're looking at a model that whenever we're doing research from the onset, if we have a product of interest, of national interest, it means that we have to get a private sector partner who's interested, because that allows for co-creation and that allows for uptake, because the private sector industry doesn't come in where they don't make profits. So the market element becomes taken care of. And therefore, at the end of the day, whatever products that we have that are genome edited on the shelves in our own supermarkets that are improving livelihoods will ensure that they do have a whole machinery, a financial aspect to support them, because at the end of the day, they are profits to the private sector.
It says, inasmuch as the African Union is advancing in biotechnology innovation, it is also important to ensure that products put on the table are also biosafe and biosecured for the continent.
Joining us now via Zoom is Professor Lalekan Akimbo of the AUDA Nepal, South Africa, to shed more insight into this emerging technology. Prof, we are pleased to have you join us at this time on Africa Weekly.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay, to begin with, can you give us your idea on what genome editing technology is all about?
Thank you so much for the good work you are doing across the continent and especially in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Genome editing is one of the new tools that have been developed to help develop to navigate around challenges in a particular subject that conventional pathway has not been able to achieve the solution that is expected. A case in point is a case of plants. As we all know that in the development of a new variety, we always look for improved component of the old variety that is farmers preferred. But when that could not be achieved, then they use another means, which we now call biotechnology, to get the variety or to get the improved version of the old variety for farmer to use. In this new technology, it is the use with the knowledge of DNA, we call it dioxyribonucleic acid, that is the knowledge of life information in the body to improve. But in the case of genome editing, it's using the information level in the plant to improve on what conventionally cannot be improved.
Okay. Okay. Now, so how popular is this technology adoption in Africa, and the challenges facing its optimal utilization?
Absolutely. Popularity at this point might be an overboard because it is still very new technology and it is not yet known across board. It is just another tool in the toolbox to improve on the challenges of food production. So we are at this point still at the scientific level to allow the science to get to the bottom of the best way to optimize productivity of agricultural products within the continent. So a case in point at this point is some of the countries that are fully advanced in the use of technology to improve biotechnology, to improve crop productivity in their space. And a case in point is that of Ethiopia and that of Kenya that have gone far into the use of the technology, but not at the point of having it in the market. They are still at the research stage.
Okay, now, just like you mentioned, food insecurity is one of the challenges that the world now faces, and global food crisis is one of those issues. And if you talk about, agriculture and food production, how far can this technology go in boosting food production, specifically in Africa, which you talk about? You mentioned two countries, Ethiopia and all of that. How can we move from this research base, to a more commercial base in such a way that this food is abundant, in Africa?
Thank you for that intelligent question. Maybe I should give you a little bit about my background so that will give you an insight to what I'm telling you, that you understand that I partially have gone through that process. By training, I'm a plant breeder. I did my PhD in plant breeding and genetics, and I did my postdoc in biotechnology. Now, coming to the question you asked, the process of improving a variety is a long process, been minimum of 10 to 12 years. For you to get a product from the inception to get to the farmer, it takes minimum of 10 years of any variety. But for this technology, it helps to reduce the time phase that is required for you to get a product to the farmer. And it takes within 4 or 5 years to get a product to the farmer. And they addressing the teeming population that we have on the continent now is a critical issue that every government, they are looking for a way of alleviating, knowing fully that Africa is a young continent that is young population that is very on the higher side. So to address these challenges, we need a technology, we need a tool that can give us a result within the shortest time that can mitigate again the challenges that we have to feed our own population. So in essence, this technology is fast, is safe, and is quick for us to get the product to the farmer, and also improve on the yield or the outcome from a crop that you have applied to.
Okay, now, Prof, you said the AUD Nepal is doing a lot in propagating genome editing technology application in Africa. Can you give us more insight into these activities? Of course, you have explained, you have said so much about this technology, but just paint a picture of what this is all about, how the activities of this technology is all about.
Thank you so much. I think the bottom line is first thing for the high-level government official at the level of the minister to get the understanding and to buy into the technology. So the effort that we have been making as an initiative from AUD in Nepal is first to engage with the government official for the government to see the benefits in the technology, so that at the end of the day, it will not be a drab technology. 1, 2, the technophobia that always go before any technology will not be an hindrance to the adoption of the technology. And if the government official they can speak about the technology and they can believe in it, then set policy that will drive innovation, policy that will enable the technocrats to run with the agenda of the government. And one of the agenda that African Union has set is Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. And one of the pillars of that Agenda 2063 is zero hunger, knowing fully that Africa is an agrarian continent, and we don't need to depend on outside to feed ourselves. And in doing this, we have the AUD Nepal, which is an implementation arm of the union, to be able to drive this agenda, that the agenda will not just be a policy document from the African Union head of state, but it will be a document that is able to come to realization of this agenda, okay, that is zero hunger, to be able to feed our population.
Okay, now, Prof.
That is one phase.
Okay. Okay, now, Prof, just listening to you.
In the second phase, if allow me to complete.
Okay, all right, go ahead, please.
If allow me to complete within the shortest.
All right, go ahead.
The second phase is getting a buy-in from the government to drive the Nigerian states to the adoption of this technology. Also, we have put in place the strategic planning in developing communication skill, communication document that can be used by government officials in communicating to different stakeholders within the ecosystem, so that each ecosystem in a stakeholder group, they have the right messaging. A case in point, for instance, you cannot speak a scientific language to non-scientific audience. Then you cannot speak a market language to a scientific audience. So each group is have the component of what sell best. And such a document has been is ongoing development that AUD is driving.
All right, now, Prof, just listening to you there, I see this innovation. It's a very huge, initiative that it's coming into the space here in Africa, Nigeria. But again, with such magnitude of technology innovation that you have, that we have, can you tell us the framework in Nigeria? How much of this support that you'd need are you getting from the government, to succeed here in Nigeria, first of all?
Thank you so much. I think the Nigerian government has really done it, and we have done well. But well is not enough for to get to the expected result. The first thing that helped in technology adoption is creating an enabling policy environment, which Nigerian government have done. They have created an agency, which is National Safety Management Agency, that regulates any emerging technology in Nigeria. And this agency also have already developed a guideline to regulate genome editing within Nigeria, and create a policy space for any of the scientists that want to work in the space of genome editing. That's the first thing. The second thing that the Nigerian government has done, which is also worth of noting, is the interest that the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation have taken during our consultation with them, that we're able to see the Minister of State in Science, Technology and Innovation for the meeting we've had with them more than 3 times now, and they have shown a strong political support that this technology is a technology that it will help us to develop our agricultural sector in Nigeria. That's another milestone. The second milestone is the Minister of Agriculture. We're able to also see the Minister of Agriculture, which also has commended that effort and also saw the niche in which Nigeria can benefit massively and revolutionize our agricultural sector, that our agricultural sector can bring a lot into our GDP instead of depending on oil. That the diversification that the government is pursuing, this technology can enhance that for the area of agriculture to improve.
All right, Prof, thank you so much for sharing your thought there with us on Africa Weekly on genome editing technology in Africa and in Nigeria as a country. Many thanks for coming on Africa Weekly.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so happy.
All right.
God bless you.
It's all right. So up next is the Tidbit segment. Please do stay with us. The outgoing High Commissioner of Rwanda to Nigeria, Stanislas Kamanzi, says the successful completion of the 2023 election in Nigeria clearly shows that African nations can peacefully handle their destiny. This was when he paid a farewell visit to President Muhammadu Buhari on completion of his tour of duty in Nigeria.
The Rwandan diplomat Stanislas Kamanzi congratulated President Muhammadu Buhari for keeping to his promise of ensuring free, fair and transparent elections, stating emphatically that he is happy for Nigeria. Mr. Kamanzi said he is going back to his country with a high sense of fulfillment after his 8-year tenure, having registered assurances that Nigeria is a friendly country and in full of expectations that his successor will build on his accomplishments. President Buhari felicitates with the outgoing diplomat on his very successful tour of duty, during which substantial progress has been made in the Nigeria-Rwanda relations. The President and the High Commissioner noted the highly beneficial ties in the area of aviation, with Rwandan airline operating 8 weekly flights to Lagos and 5 to Abuja, and the progress towards the Nigeria-Rwanda Joint Commission, which has been signed and soon to be inaugurated. On the uncommon coincidence of the High Commissioner and himself coming in 8 years ago and leaving about the same time, President Buhari said, "You saw us coming in, and you are about to see us leaving."
Despite uncertainties in the global markets coupled with inflationary pressure being experienced in Nigeria, Africa's largest economy has maintained a stable economic performance in recent times. The Division Chief Research Department's IMF, Daniel Lay, stated this during a briefing at the World Economic Outlook meeting.
The Managing Director of International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, said with the inflationary pressure, recovery has been elusive, thereby resulting in central banks' continuous increase in interest rates to control the trend. The transition from abundant liquidity with low interest rates to lower liquidity and higher interest rates, she added, has exposed vulnerabilities in the financial sector, thereby making task of policy making harder.
Is despite the remarkable resilience of consumer spending in the United States, in Europe, despite the uplift from China's reopening, global growth would remain below 3% as we projected it earlier this year, and what is more concerning, it would remain around 3% for the next 5 years.
In building resilience and shaping development, World Bank Group President David Malpass says the bank is keen on paying attention on performance of the world economy, the debt problems facing developing countries, with a view to provide assistance to people around the world, and especially for people that are on the lower end of the income scale in developing countries, as well as advanced economies that are suffering from the lower incomes. The International Monetary Fund, in its research, says cost of trade fragmentation can run as high as 7% of global GDP over the years.
That's our package this week on Africa Weekly. Thanks for being part of it. I am Charles Alpha.